Woo! It's the Golden Beach Show. That's yes.
And that's Sasha.
And we're live on IW Radio. Yeah, we did it. I think we're live. I hope we're live.
That hit me right in the turp zone.
Did you take a hit right when we started?
Right when you pointed at me.
That makes sense. Because a lot of times when that happens, I can't see you because I'm doing like all of the other things.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I feel like I hope. Do you get those recorded? Because like I feel like that's really funny. Me just being like,
oh yeah. There's like we have mad outtakes.
I want the bloopers, and what we're talking about is our YouTube. We've been souping it up, man, and this is like. This is free content. Everything that we do is free, but it's like free fun, like it's like an added little layer of Cool Nerd Weed Show silliness that you can watch because we're silly beans and we've been silly for, I don't know, like 7-8 years now. So like that's a while. And like our YouTube is really fun. So like obviously, the podcast is where it's at. But if you have the time and you're not driving or doing stuff that requires more of your attention, stuff, you're just chilling. You're just like putting the baby to sleep. I've been watching my niece, so that's what's on my mind. I would watch the Cool Nerd Weed Show on YouTube while I was trying to get the baby tired. That's what I would do because I'd be laughing, be in a good mood, it'd be a chill environment. And I want to see the bloopers.
We're easy on the eyes. We're soothing.
We are quite easy on the eyes. We're so handsome, and we've got like, we've got the goods. We've got ways to make us like look fun. And TS is like in his editing suite, feverishly making things look really cool. And we have captions, and it's all a good time. So I would say the YouTube is really a great place to find us because Instagram fucking sucks, ass cracks.
Totally.
All the butts.
We got, restricted again on our Instagram. Again.
And like, we didn't even do anything.
We didn't do anything. We just do the things that we always do. And, Instagram, Zuckerberg doesn't like it for some reason.
It doesn't like weed. That's really the takeaway here. But neither does TikTok. TikTok hates weed. I mean, we don't even get like 2 seconds in on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The very first video I posted on TikTok was taken down like immediately.
They were like, oh, okay. Yeah, nice try.
Nice try. You Yankee fuck.
Yeah. You Yankee fuck. Well, it's understandable in some ways. Like, yeah, if you don't have Facebook restrictions on like your kids' shit, and like we're just like, ooh, smoking weed, like boobies. Like, I guess fine. But if you're AI,
these are a few of my favorite things.
Yeah. If you're just like, if you're educational or you're us, you're like comedy educational. I just don't think all of the censoring is necessary. But whatever. I am not Mark Zuckerberg and I didn't revolutionize the way to communicate through a social network. So what the hell do I know? I didn't invent social media, so all I got to do is live by the rules of it. But it's fucking whack. And YouTube so far, like, far be it from me to praise Google for anything, but like so far, YouTube has not censored us. I'll say that tomorrow. They'll be like, fuck off.
So far, we haven't received any notices from YouTube regarding our content as being offensive to anybody.
No, we're not offensive. We're quite nice.
What are you smoking, Sasha?
Okay. So I'm so glad you asked. TS. I am sorry. It's
it got you right in the
cough.
right in the turp zone.
Yeah, literally like stuck right in my throat. That's exactly what you want from a weed, by the way, these. So what I did here, I've been going to Apothecarium Lodi. It's conveniently placed on Route 17, and it's easy for me in New Jersey to get there. No tolls, easy peasy 1, 2, 3. I could go deeper into Jersey and different places, but this has just been. I have an account there and I have points, so and they have had really good strains. And I went there because they had cookies. That's why I went there like over the summer or maybe last year. I started going there because they had cookies and they had a drive-through, which I thought was pretty rad. Now,
That's very convenient.
So convenient. I love it. But their ATM hasn't been their debit card thing hasn't been working, so I have to go in anyway. So it's fine. It's fine. I'm not complaining. But what I am wondering about, and I don't really have the answer to this, it's like on Reddit, but I found that, I don't know, it just like must have come up when I searched for cookies or something. I don't know how I found that they had a little cookies corner. It was like a licensed cookies place. So now Terra Ascend is, I think, the distributor out here for cookies. You know what I mean? It's not like, Cookies doesn't have a facility here on the East Coast. I don't think. I think
they have a collaboration.
Yes, exactly. So like, which makes sense because they're licensed in different states. I'm pretty sure that's how they do it in all the states. So that's that. Just covering that note. But their cookie strains are pretty good. They have like Gary Payton. Sometimes they'll have like blended pound cake or whatever. But lately it looks like I don't know if they rebranded the cookies out here, but it's definitely cookies because it's the cookies logo. And I don't have the bag with me because I'm a dummy, but like
It's got
literally
the
the
C.
blue C with the cookies bite in it. Now it's called on the menu C Bite, which is clearly just describing the cookies logo. And it's different. It's like different on different like menus and stuff, but there is a cookie shop out here in Harrison, in New Jersey, that I haven't been to, that I'm curious about. I might try to stop there this week. I just found out that it was here or that it opened.
It's like a full-on cookies
yes,
branded shop. Okay,
yeah, like a Cookies Melrose, and it's the closest one to New York that is recreational. I don't even know if or to New York City, like to like Manhattan and stuff, because I feel like Cookies was gonna open a shop and they didn't, right? They don't have a shop in
yeah. I
East.
mean, I thought they had a space.
They
Just a
probably
billboard, some
lost
kind
it.
of space. Yeah, I mean, well, New York's dragged its feet, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story for another day that you already know us to talk about. But yeah, so that's whatever. I read that on Google. Like the Harrison Cookie Shop was the closest licensed cookie shop to whatever. So there is cookies in this, world. So it's not like it's a foreign concept, because the only thing I can think of is why they changed the brand to Sea Bite. And it says this on Reddit too. Somebody had that thought, like, oh, it's because they really want to make sure we don't call weed food, which I don't think
Oh,
is.
is it because of the branding was like a cookie, and a lot of states have regulations regarding imaging like
Exactly.
food or fruit or
Which I don't disagree
cartoons.
with. You have something that looks like Apple Jacks. You wanted to not be associated with or or whatever. That all that shit was, and also Skittles. The strain Skittles was an issue, and Now and Later's were too. Like candy's always an issue. Food's always an issue. So maybe they wanted to avoid it, and also even my mom knew this because I was like trying to explain cookies to her, and like this conversation, which is not niche, but niche enough that if you're not in the industry, like you don't know why this is curious to me, or this is like interesting to talk about for the first 11 minutes of the show. But my mom even knew that cookies, and she didn't know how to say it, but she was like, "Isn't cookies like a flavor?" And I was like a strain, and she was like, "Yeah, isn't it like a strain?" And I was like, "Yes, very good." I was like, "It is. It's like a relatively, I guess it's kind of newer, but it's been around for a minute. It's very East Coast, like." So I was like, "Yeah, it is." So maybe it shows that people weren't confused with the strain, cookies, and they were like, "We got to rebrand. Nobody knows. Nobody gets it. Everybody thinks that all the weed is cookies."
Oh, it's like if you
You
just
know what I
called
mean?
yourself Kush.
Exactly.
We're Kush, but you want to distinguish yourself from the other Kushes. And there's so many cookies, and all of the flavors on the East Coast were cookies, some kind of cookies for a long time.
Cross. Yeah,
Crosses that you want to
totally.
distinguish yourself from
Do you think that's
the
more
cookies.
likely than the food thing?
Branding, I don't know. It's an interesting theory.
Thanks.
I I kind of um I kind of err on the side of like like the food issue, because in New Jersey
Okay.
when when
I'll just go fuck myself then.
no I mean
I'm just
I
kidding. It's fine. I don't feel
um
stupid.
the
It's fine.
when you picked up the Mike Tyson ear bites,
Mhm,
they
mhm.
weren't actually ear bites.
I
They were
did
just
get
like
a batch of ears
you
once,
did. You did.
but the first time and the second time I think that I got them, they were underwhelming, by the way. They were just squares with a bite taken out of them,
Okay. Well, really, they had like a bite, but
but they were
it's
just
weird
squares.
because it's not like an animal.
No.
It's a body part.
Yeah, no, it was weird. It was a weird. I mean, I know some states were like not down. They thought it was like, insensitive, I guess, to Evander Holyfield. I don't know. I don't know who they were like bummed about. But uh yeah. I guess like there really is a sensitivity about the food stuff. It's a
Yeah,
big deal. But they have
and
to know that like nobody's going to get the flour cookies and are like, "Oh, don't leave that around the kids. It's flour." You know what I mean?
yeah, if you opened up the package and there's no actual fucking cookies in there,
No,
you're not going to
I
eat
don't.
the whole thing, thinking that
I'm
they're
so
like
curious
chocolate
about
chip, like
this.
Chips Ahoy.
Exactly. And even if it was like, which I don't even know what edibles are like approved out here or whatever, but like, because I haven't seen, like, I've only seen like gummies. But again, I'm very limited in where I go because I'm like lazy. So, like, I should be going to all the dispensaries in New Jersey, but I'm like, no, I'm not getting on the turnpike or the parkway. Huh?
Well, when I get out there, we'll go.
Mhm, mhm.
We'll pick
Yeah, we got to.
two other ones, and we'll go to your favorite one as well.
Yes, yes. And I do, creature of habit. You do go to your local shop, the shop that you know. And so this was a long-winded way of saying that I got the see. I really do only like out here so far cookies, weed. And I know it's like a Terra Ascend collab, but still, it still has that cookies flavor to it that just cookies has. Like I got last week, I got Undertow, I think was the name of it, and that was that was like 25%. It had like 2.5% terps, which I found to be very high. And
For the New Jersey flower.
for New Jersey flower, exactly. This week, I went and I got Hawaiian rain. Hawaiian rain.
Oh, how was that?
It is okay. I wanted it to be a little bit better. Let me look up what what strain it was, and I literally like just
So, I mean,
out of it.
even when you're doing a like a collab, you can you can somehow the strains will find their way to wherever they need to be, but then you
Yeah,
have the
for sure.
formula, and I guess depending on how you execute the grow, but as long as you have like some basic things, you're going to get some decent strains
Yeah. So
at
it's
this the C note,
the C bite.
the C bite
Yeah.
shop.
So Hawaiian rain is a cross between London Pound mince and jealousy. Now,
Okay, okay.
jealousy, I could like, I don't know, I don't love like I feel like that's one of those
Take it or
strains that I get that
yeah,
I'm like, oh, that was great.
take it or leave it. I haven't found like a really beautiful example of jealousy, but I'm starting to find now some jealousy crosses that I'm really digging.
Really?
But
Oh yeah, I
jealousy on
think
its own, there was
yeah.
that So Jelly that was like a jealousy cross from
See,
Delighted that I
yeah, it
had
was
that
okay.
I
you liked it.
enjoyed that.
You did. I was okay with it. I remember I was like, I don't know. Like I remember being like, all right with it. It was
But
good, but there's something about it that I just doesn't hit for me.
there is something sort of, I don't know, unappealing or just generic. I wouldn't say it's unappealing. It's just generic. Jealousy is like generic to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So this does have like that sort of vibe to it. Like you can get the London Pound mints. So what I've been doing is I've just been combining the two that I have, the two cookies weeds that I have. But if anybody knows why the C-bite thing, if you work in whatever the weed thing is out here, like if you had a part in that, or if that was just like a brand decision, I would like to know. DM us. We'll tag cookies because they'll look out for our DMs. And I'd love to know. And long live Cookies Melrose. Did we even talk about this last week? We did, I think, for like 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, we touched on it. We touched.
Cookies Melrose is
R.I.P.
gonzo.
R.I.P. Cookies Melrose. We loved you.
We had a good run. Well, we did. We didn't live by there, but like we had a good run with you. You were our spot. Chaos always, but what what isn't?
Yeah. Also, you came through during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yep. Like absolutely like worked like a well-oiled machine. Always very impressive. Always the good strains. I mean, we would just like thinking, I'm surprised I even have memories of like when we would like walk down to Cookies because we would be so fucking faded. Like, how do I remember any of that?
We bought one of those Bear Woods.
That was
Like
our first Bearwoods
$50
experience.
2-gram blunt.
Yeah, but like 1.5 grams was the filter, the glass filter. For like $80. I mean, listen, it's exorbitant.
Oh, yeah.
It was luxury, but cookies all day. And again, like not without prejudice. Like we know that some strains. I feel like we talk about cookies with some people, and they're like, "Yeah, but sometimes they're not good." Like, yeah, for sure. That's like kind of how it goes, and it's true. Sometimes cookies doesn't hit. That's okay.
For sure. They had so many strains at one point. You kind of need to know what you're looking at. Also, they've got they did like their greenhouse line, and
I did.
obviously that's going to be a different sort of quality. You get what you pay for.
Indeed. And we love you. So yeah, we just talked about cookie. We just did a little TED talk on cookies for a minute, which I think is great. DM us, Cool Nerd Weed Show, or you can leave a comment on YouTube.
We salute you, the United States of cannabis, under all 50 strains, one pre-roll under bong.
The Cool Nerd Weed Show on Adobe Radio.
Yes, thank you, Fish. Fish is with us every week. Congratulations,
Yeah, thanks,
Fish.
Fish.
10 years of Fishmas he just celebrated. Did you see that?
Oh wow, yeah.
Not Fishmas, Con Fishkin, but also probably Fishmas. He's been doing that a long time too. Fish is a legend. You should go listen to him on Con Fishkin on Thursday nights. I'm in for Fish for the Fresh at 5, by the way, so you can listen to me every day this week at 5 o'clock on the Eastern time zones, and also my show. And it's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's TS,
and that's Sasha.
And we're back. And you have a bong, one nation under bong. That's what we're talking about. So we talked about Ohio last week because when we were on the air, they were voting. There was a big vote. We really focused on weed, but like as the vote was happening, I was like, damn, we should have talked about abortion too. I like that was also a big one that was on the bill. Now that we are in the future and we know the outcome of the race, it's good job, Ohioans.
Yeah, Ohio getting it done.
Good job, Ohio. Really, really proud of you. I was nervous, you know what I mean? But I'm really glad that you did the damn thing with both issues. Both are very progressive issues, and that gives the nerds a happy place because now Ohio gets to enjoy legal weed. Oh yeah. That's great,
Oh,
man. That's
yeah.
good for you. For real. That
Ohio
is exciting.
joins us as the 24th state to legalize adult use cannabis.
Ooh.
And they think within the next in the next month,
Yeah.
anyone 21 years or older will be allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of cannabis and 15 grams of concentrate.
Wow. That's a lot. I mean, it's more than like,
That's a lot of concentrate.
Yeah.
And they included home grow. So if you're a single
That's
person in a
amazing.
house, you can grow 6 plants. If you are maxed out at your occupancy is 12 plants per parcel of land wherever you're living. So go ahead and grow your 12 plants, you and your partner, your friend.
hmm
That's good shit, man, right there. Ohio.
That's amazing. Ohio, good for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's good weed. I hope you feel free and safe with your safe access. So celebrate. Celebrate,
Do you cannabis and access to abortion are on the ballots in a lot of places, and
Mhm.
the Republicans don't like it
They
at
don't.
all.
They don't.
At
But guess
all.
what happens when you vote? Good thing.
Voting, yeah, voting works.
Works. And that is, you'll hear us say it time and time again. I may be disillusioned with the world sometimes. I may be a cranky pants, but you'll always catch me voting because it's importante. So, and when things like the right to choose and basically saving lives with that, and also with weed too. I wish there was more expungement on this bill. It's a little bit of a bummer that wasn't really laid out as clearly, but maybe they'll like surprise us and just like start expunging. Maybe.
Yeah, it was sort of built into the conversation at the tail end, which isn't great, but
Yeah. It's like
you
broad.
know, get this conversation going and start expunging those records, Ohio,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. So so they join they're so they were already medical and now, so how many states does that bring us to?
That's 24 states that
You
have
said 24. Yeah.
either medical or adult use cannabis.
So
There's
yeah.
there's a couple of states that allow CBD and low
Yeah, that's what I
THC,
was gonna say.
but and then there's like a few in the middle that have like nothing. But that's a lot of states that have something
It is.
cannabis
It
related.
is. It is. And the big ones, in New York and such. I'm sure I stay surprised at Oklahoma rejecting recreational weed because it's like everywhere. Well, the
Yeah.
billboards.
Okay.
I don't know why that is.
This is Ohio. Oklahoma. Oklahoma
Yeah.
really loves its loose cowboy medical program. We loved it in
hmm
California,
hmm
and
So they did what we should have done, and they voted it down.
probably they voted
Esteem.
adult use down to maintain their medical program. Is what I'm thinking.
Well, I guess I can't be mad at that.
But at the same time, there was I was reading that like over 100 medical cannabis licenses are going to be revoked in Oklahoma for various discrepancies and violations.
Oh no. Something to think about.
Something to think about. They didn't want it. They weren't ready
That's
in
okay.
Oklahoma. Yeah, it's
It's
okay.
okay. Yeah, that's the problem with when you don't like legalize though, because it's like now those kinds of things, you're kind of at danger, which was the case for a long time in California. You never knew when something bad was going to happen before like 215 and stuff, like compassion and everything. It's like everything was illegal kind of, but then like when it's written with language to protect you, then you don't have to worry about that stuff. So it's rough because we didn't want Prop 64 in either, even though obviously we're advocates for recreational weed. We sure do like it. It's just there's some, wording in legislations that we think should be, paid attention to. So, we're just gonna kind of go over the Hill article, and just give us a little refresher on what's legal where.
Let's just step back to the Ohio area. Now, there's speculation that because Ohio legalized cannabis, that it will sort of pressure or influence Pennsylvania to do the same and be next in line.
I read a bunch of like op-eds that like people don't want it.
The people of Pennsylvania don't want cannabis.
Well, maybe just like there's a lot of anti-weed stuff coming out.
For sure.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the Riley stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, maybe that'll be the Huff and Puff. But because there's a lot of anti-weed stuff going on. Like it's a little bit, I guess, like I don't know if it's like the time of year. I don't know if we've paid attention to when it ticks up a little bit, but like a lot of like news organizations and there's a lot of like panic right now about weed and stuff, and it just seems like, I don't know if people are more like, because of like elections and stuff, so people are just kind of like, no to weed, it's gonna make us descend into fucking madness. Because there are like politicians who, like you said, Republican politicians who, that's probably what I was reading, is like some sort of,
they don't even want it on the ballot during such a big.
I hate it.
It's not a well, we had the midterms already, and this was the special election, but the next election is a big one in November. And in these sort of swing states, Republicans definitely don't want cannabis on the bill, because that brings out voters that wouldn't vote, may or may not have voted before. And
Totally.
so they don't want it on the bill.
But no, that's totally true. It's totally true. They don't want you to come out and exercise your right to vote because they can't, stifle that. And weed is definitely, it's so weird that there's like even anybody who like doesn't want weed is, or it's just so rough because weed is just in this place of profit now. And we talked about this a lot. Like, that's just not how, like, the culture of weed, we feel like operates the smoothest, but that's just where we are. And that's what like recreational or adult use weed does. So we just kind of have to like give and take a little bit. Like, yes, does it suck that like it's such a bummer to get anything passed? There's still such a stigma, all the licensing, all the for-profitness of it. Like, yeah, that's gross. But do we get like our access and jobs and knowledge and exposure? Like, yeah. And like we're one step closer to getting it recognized, and whatever whatever it winds up being, legal, scheduled. Maybe somebody comes in and it's just like, fuck it. We treat it like alcohol, have at it, or whatever, like whatever it winds up being. It's like, that's better than it being like our homies going to jail and friends and family having stuff on their records for weed. Like, that's fucking whack.
Totally. There's two ways to actually get cannabis legalization passed. One is to get it on the ballot, the will of the people, vote it in or out, the people spoken. Or two, you have a member of government write a bill or an amendment to reverse or legalize, change the laws regarding cannabis in that state. And this has worked in a couple of states where it was just an act of Congress. Others have gone to a vote, but in Indiana, it was an amendment to legalize adult use cannabis was put to their Congress, and it went through. It sorry, it did not. It didn't have any legs at all. Oh, God, I'm dying.
We're really good at spokespeople for weed. You have some water.
So
The show doesn't
that's a
have to
great
go
idea.
on. It's okay. Help first.
Don't stop talking.
It's dead air. Oh, Jesus. No, yes, I could have helped you out. I just let you fucking choke. I'm
Filibuster
sorry.
away.
I mean, no, I thought, because I just thought you want to get your point across. But I got you, and you are correct. The Indiana proposal was like, you know, it was like it came and it went. It was like vapor. You know, I feel like it didn't have any mass to it.
No.
Was never going to take off, which. You know, another article we were reading, like, which was misleading in the Google. It was like, now that Ohio passed, is Tennessee likely to pass on abortion and weed? And then you clicked on it. It was like, no, they are not closer. Why would you think that? And I was like, because Google said. So I don't know what sort of clickbait bullshit I got to, but I did click on it because I was like, wait, for realsies? Like, Tennessee is really considering it? Because, and of course, no, they are not. So, like, yeah, there's still states. They're one of a few. They don't have anything, right? Tennessee
has CBD and low
CBD,
THC.
okay.
Yeah,
Which I guess is progress, I suppose.
Yeah, Indiana has
like
the same CBD and low THC.
Yeah. Okay. It's the first step, I guess, nowadays.
Is CBD and low THC the gateway to adult use cannabis?
Full adult use. I think it's like partially. I think medical first is like. Well, that's how it used to be, right? Like, I feel like, you know, you get
you would try to get like some medical cannabis program passed, and
yeah. So I don't know why I said right like that. Like, I didn't fucking know that. Like, yeah, like, like that's definitely what it was. Like, it was, you know,
but
like,
if you're like in one of these like very red states, like CBD and low THC is like progressive for that.
Sure.
But then there's still like some real holdouts like Kansas and Nebraska and Idaho that don't even allow CBD or hemp.
Yeah, they don't want anything to do with it. Yeah. It's funny because this article does like kind of go on to say that, like, it does seem like it's somewhat hopeful, but it's actually not. Like, you know, like it's everything's kind of the same while states are slowly but surely coming along, and while we celebrate these victories, because this is a victory, I'm not taking it away. It does say like nothing has really changed, you know, federally. So we still have to work through that, and I'm not sure how. You know, I'm not sure because, you know, like taking it off the schedule list probably is ideal. And then you got to work with expungement. And then there's a lot that has to follow. And I don't think the government cares that much about weed to donate all of these resources. You can't half-ass it. You can't. So, like, I think that it's just going to take a while, and it should take a while because they should do it right. But it would be nice if weed was like studied like a real, you know, substance, like a medicine or whatever, so that we understood it more. And the only way to do that is federally doing shit. But then Idaho would have to, I guess you could still like,
I guess as a state like Idaho, they could probably opt out. That wouldn't impede like federally and like science moving forward if like Idaho said no,
which would be so high.
Or Nebraska or Kansas said no. You know, we'd still have all of the other states on board to do what they wanted, which they're already doing, but then we have more freedom to actually study the plant and all of its
I love it.
and all of its glory.
I love it. And so that's where we are in these United States of cannabis, still kind of talking about the same thing that we were talking about, for our whole show, but that's okay because as long as there's weird shit and weed to talk about, then there'll be a Cool Nerd Weed Show and beyond. And we again are so happy to clear up like anything, and it's always good to just like know your rights and Google where you're going, and if you're in a state that like Idaho and Kansas and Nebraska, like please don't have weed with you. And I think it's important to note, like if you're a new recreational state like Ohio, just know that like as soon as you're in Oklahoma, like you drive to Oklahoma and there's like mad weed billboards, I guess just for their like cowboy medical program. And then as soon as you cross over to Texas, there's like a billboard with like a jail, like a guy in a jail cell, like a weed plant jail cell. It's like, got weed and you're going to get arrested. Here's a lawyer's number. So they make it clear, like, do not cross over state lines with weed. Don't feel frisky. Don't like, let's just all be careful with everything so that the federal government can look at that and be like, oh, these guys, they can make it. We don't have to.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad. We're not going to descend into a hellish nightmare. Oh gosh, it just like would probably solve all the things. Like the government would get so much shit done if they smoked more weed. Could you imagine? When you speak of the house, like takes an edible?
They take they debate. They do it like the Greek style. They debate everything sober and then debate everything drunk. So they would debate everything sober and then they'd all go out and smoke up. Have a big congressional sesh, and
I
then
just think that would like help
debate everything. I think so too. I'm going to propose this: the Congressional Sesh.
The Congressional Sesh.
I'm going to march on Washington with the Congressional Sesh.
Like a sandwich board.
They called them crazy, but who knew that there would be a Congressional Sesh added to the 2025?
And we're just like like screaming like the end is nigh. I think a Congressional Sesh is a great idea and it would solve lots of problems in this world. And it's gonna be a minute. I'm interested to see how it all plays out. I'm glad we have progressions like Ohio. I'm sad about the few states that don't have any programs, and the states that like the CBD stuff is funny because it's like a whole other shenanigans that
for sure. Yeah.
If you're in Texas, you're dealing with a whole world of BS because of the way the laws are written or not written.
They just are finding all the legal loopholes to do hemp-derived Delta 9, Delta 8, THCO.
Which, like, I was on board with at first, and then I was like, wait.
There's too much room for fuckery.
There's too much room for fuckery, indeed. And
again, I was on board too.
When you see something pop up like that, you just have to ask some questions, and you do if you just be safe, no matter what you're doing, and no matter what state that you're in, just like know your rights, and if you're in Ohio, soon enough you're going to be able to show your ID, go to the dispensary, get some weed, bring cash. Probably. We will be right back.
The nerds will be right back. It's never too late to join the sesh.
Pass that here.
The final Huff and Puff with TS and Sasha.
It is the final Huff and Puff with TS and Sasha, and we are doing a little bit of a follow-up to last week's show. So last week, there was this story that came out on like a lot of major news sites like CNN and stuff, and Apple News or some shit. Like there was like a bunch of like sites that your parents fucking go to and us and they all had the same reporting that weed increases your risk of stroke, heart disease or something, right?
Yeah, heart attack, stroke, and other heart issues. Everybody sent it to us.
Yeah, we saw it everywhere. I mean, it was it was a bummer. We talked about it last week. We speculated what we thought was going on and what, we have experienced in our lives and our our sitches. And we saw, what you thought you would see, which is people like us being like, what is this? What is this? You know what I mean? What is this craziness? And or this extremist. And it's, we didn't like the sound of it, and neither did a lot of people. So we follow Riley Chem
Riley
on
D.
TikTok, Riley D, and Instagram. Instagram is probably like the least suppressed. You'll find Riley's show. And she does a podcast. Do you have a podcast? I can pull it up. And her podcast is called, she does a podcast called Bioactive, I think. Yeah. So she does that, which is super cool. She talks about all sorts of stuff, namely cannabis, but also like things that are bioactive, which is other things, apparently. Super cool. We've had her on the show before. Early on, I found her on TikTok and I was like a big fan. So go follow the podcast at Bioactive Podcast and find Riley everywhere, Cannabichem, on all the socials. So Riley had a person who is likely smarter than us on the podcast. And wait, I'm trying to find.
Yeah, these are actual doctors.
Yeah, like people, we had
Scientists.
we had our best guess. So this is, yes, Dr. Benjamin Kaplan. He had a whole conversation about it with Riley, but we have a clip that we want to go through, which kind of, it really does state the same, but it's nice to hear it from a smart person. So
our community to be concerned with this data.
I see thousands of people who are using cannabis, and I have gotten to see them, some of them growing up over 10 years. And I have inside view of what effects cannabis has and doesn't have. And what makes me different from these reporters in this reporting is they have no idea.
So we, this is something that we've mentioned, is that yes, the media is absolutely skewed in a way that the access, like what they say and have access to is so not like representative of what like actually living with weed and using it as medicine and or, recreationally, like we do. People who are in it just have more experience. Them's are the breaks.
They were reading a pile of papers and trying to draw conclusions without grounding it in reality. If they spend time to look at the pile of papers that they're looking at, half of those papers have been paid to show that cannabis was bad. That is a dangerous thing in science because science is a journey, as we started off saying, and it's built on lessons we learned from the past. But when that past is full of poop, what we're building on are papers full of poop. And that's really dangerous for us to go forward thinking that that's the right information. So my view is based on the patients I've seen for a long time. And I can tell you, I've seen some of the dangers of cannabis. I've seen people do too much. I've seen people have heart issues. That does happen. But it is very rare. And it depends on environment. It depends on what they're consuming. It depends on their genetics.
Another thing that we said, like,
yes,
it depends. And they didn't talk about any of that. They didn't tell us what their diet was. None of that.
There's a lot of factors into what goes into this. Another important thing that the doctor said was that these studies are generally they're paid for from some anti-cannabis conglomerate or wherever whoever's funding them, and then they're only studying the negative effects.
Yes.
So
exactly.
they've already reached a conclusion to their hypothesis that is negative, and then they are going to prove, however, in these pile of papers that it is negative.
Yeah. So like he said, like it's already fucking full of shit. So you can't you can't build upon that, if you're already starting at that foundation.
It depends on their nutrition habits, their exercise habits. You know what? Cannabis is just like everything else. You can do it the right way. You can do it the wrong way. We're not going to see headlines like these with any truth to them.
So that's, that's helpful to know.
They're only providing you clickbait.
It's from, it's from sources that you're like, oh, these are usually the places I go to debunk stuff or to like get stuff right. So it's kind of a bummer to like see that because it just takes your trust away from like news sources. But like when it comes to weed, you can't really trust. You can trust us, but there's a lot of I feel like in the mainstreams, it's just difficult. They're not there yet. They're not down. So, like he said, these places are it's like an advertisement for anti-weed propaganda. So stupid.
So
Because it
stupid.
sets us back. It sets us really far back.
Well, yeah, because every single person that sent me this article already is trying to paint a dark cloud over our cannabis parade. and I'm not having it. So thank you, Riley D.
I can't wait. I can't find it.
You paint this dark cloud that's raining all over me, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
To do it like this. I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
But thank you, Riley D, for being laser focused.
Yes.
We love you,
We love
Riley
you.
D.
Mine are off. Oh, I'm so sad.
So thank you for the good news.
Look, I found one. Yay. Yeah, thank you, Riley. You're the best. Thank you for giving us like actual facts. And, it's nice to hear what you had thought be true. So I feel validated. And again, if you're scared, just listen to us. We got you. We're not going to lead you astray. We don't benefit from that. Nobody in weed does. Nobody in weed is trying to like kill you. We promise.
It's bad for business.
It's so bad for business. Can you take too much weed? Like, yes. Yes. But you shouldn't. And
don't panic.
It's organic.